college athletes have no time to work because of mandatory team activities, practices, and games that they have to attend. Should college athletes be paid? I think so. College athletes spend an outrageous amount of time and work, put in an outrageous amount of time and work into their respected sport and bring in millions of dollars for their school and don't get paid for it. That sounds kind of ridiculous to me. I'm going to tell you the 3 main points of why college athletes should get paid. College athletes devote their life to the game, struggle to make ends meet, and bring in millions of dollars for their schools. For beginners, let's talk about devoting their life into playing. College athletes spend 50 hours per week on average just practicing for their team and training just so they can be ready come game time. About 400 athletes found that the time demanded was causing them both anxiety and they were struggling to catch up on sleep. This really can take a toll on you. Next up, by devoting their life into the game, college athletes do tend to get injured a lot. 8 out of every 1,000 athletes gets injured, and which led to 41,000 being injured in just a span of 5 years. 25% of those injuries came out serious, and serious injuries really can be a problem. Imagine breaking your arm, breaking your leg. Those things can be life lasting. And if worse comes to worse, you might never get to play the sport again, all for something that you didn't get paid for. This can also cause physical, psychological, and mental distress, which can last a really long time and be expensive to fix. Lastly, another thing that really does take a toll on them is when they spend so much time on the sport, their grades tend to drop. A study showed that college athletes tend to have lower grades than those not participating in college sports. And in the long run, that can really hurt you, especially because if you're getting low grades, you don't get that degree. And if you don't make the pros, then you're not going to have a good career growing up. Now that I've informed you about how college athletes devote their life to their game, let's talk about how they struggle to make ends meet. For example, let's just talk about their life expenses. A college athlete who trains and studies for 90 hours a week may tend to usually ends up starving at the end of the day. And after the school facilities are closed, he has to go out and pay for his own food. But where is he supposed to get that money from? He doesn't have enough time for a job, and the school doesn't pay him. So where is that money going to come from? And that's just the least of their problems. Next up, they have mandatory things that they need to go to, like fundraisers and banquets, which require them to rent or buy a suit. And we both know that suits aren't expensive. Suits aren't cheap. Know that. And this one, most important to me, is they really can't have fun on their off days. Athletes, if they want to go out with their friends, they need to do something for free, because if they want to go on a road trip, or they want to go eat out, or they just want to go to Six Flags, they don't have the money for that because that money doesn't come from anywhere. So that's really a big issue. And lastly, should they really struggle to make ends meet? Because all the money they aren't receiving is going straight to the schools, and they bring in a lot of money. The NCAA website showed that their revenue was over $1 billion from September 2016 to August 2017. That's a lot of money, and the players are bringing in that money, and they're not saying any of it. That's not fair. Because if you really look at the big picture, no players, no sport, no money. And now the school just doesn't have the money either. So they should really look into giving the players money before the players just completely stop wanting to play. And to prove to you guys that players are the reason that money's coming in, let's look at this statistic. In 2019, Zion Williamson came out of high school the top prospect since LeBron James. Those are really big shoes to fill. He got picked up by Duke, and in his first game playing against UNM, people paid an insane amount of money to go watch him play. The cheapest price for a ticket was $2,500, and the most expensive came out to $10,652. That's a lot of money. And on top of that, Zion Williamson got hurt in that game, so he put his health on the line, and he got injured, and he didn't make any money for it. So that's a really big loss for him. Okay, so now that I've informed you guys about how college players devote their life to the game, struggle to make ends meet and are the reason that colleges make a lot of money in the first place, do we agree that they should be getting paid? Because I personally think without a doubt that they should at least be getting paid a good salary. Playing will make their life easier by a mile. Think about all the things that they bring to us. They bring us excitement, game days. We all have a great time on Saturdays and Sundays just sitting there and watching your team play, going to those games, those game rivalries, all of that, and they get nothing in return. They get to play and they have a chance of going pro. Does that really seem fair to you? Because I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't work 50 hours. I wouldn't work 50 hours a week and not get paid for it. That's a full-time job. Like, let's be honest. And I think if we don't pay players eventually, they're not going to continue playing. And that's going to cost the school a lot of money, and that's just not good for business. Another thing is if we do start paying them, schools will compete a lot harder. Players will compete a lot harder, and the games will just be funner to watch, which will bring the school more money as well. So think about that. College students should get paid.